lying to myself. I've been thinking, little day drinking, thinking about someone else. I've tried to walk the line, I've tried to stay in tune. My sober state of mind says I should stay with you, but the whiskey in me since I can do anything I want to, and I ain't got nothing to lose. 100 proof, all lit up, and baby I'm on fire. Come alive in the smoky haze. Light 'em up, Kentucky straight. It's a damn good night for a good time. Might just be the whiskey in me.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to listen to the Sports Talk Podcast. I am Brandon. Well, I want to remind you, as I do every podcast at the very beginning, to go follow us on Twitter at SportsTalkCast1, at SportsTalkCast1. Go follow us on Twitter. Search for us on Facebook. If you search for us on Facebook, type in Sports Talk Cast 1. We will pop up on Facebook. Go ahead, give us a like. Go ahead, give us a follow on the Twitter. I thank you guys for taking the time. Today's episode is going to be short and sweet because, as you can tell, I'm battling losing my voice. I've been fighting a cold here the last couple of days, and it really seems to be kicking my butt. So, what I want to talk about, I want to go into some college football. It was a great Saturday. I usually do these podcasts on Wednesday, but today, since it's Sunday, we're going to talk college football and what happened Saturday to start things off. Just going to go down the basic scoreboard here, and Duke was defeated by Louisville. Louisville seemed to get back on track. Lamar Jackson had one touchdown, 181 yards passing, but he did rush for 144 yards and one touchdown on 21 carries. Lamar Jackson's looking like the Heisman candidate that he is when they beat Duke 24-14. Will Louisville still win enough games and to prove enough people that they deserve to be in the playoffs? I still think that Louisville should have a right to the playoffs if they continue to win out. We'll see. There's still a lot of college football left, a lot of crazy things. We'll see about Louisville's future. But I think for Louisville fans, Louisville is back. Lamar Jackson is back. I think you guys will win out the rest of the year, and we'll see where that puts you. Now to my Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State beat Wisconsin 30-23. JT Barrett went off on a tangent on that overtime. Say the man was just cool as a cucumber. I watched the game, cheered on my Buckeyes. Barrett had a mediocre game. He threw for 226, one touchdown, 17 for 29. Did have an interception. It kind of looked like he was rushing some of his throws. He did rush for 97 yards, and he had a TD. But JT, when it counted in that overtime, dude looked cool, calm, relaxed. For my fellow Buckeyes fans, I think the Buckeyes will roll all the way up to the game against Michigan. I think it's going to be tough, as bad as I hate to say it, but I think we will prevail. I think we'll beat Michigan, and then it goes into the Big Ten title game on whoever we will end up playing. I think the Buckeyes are going to have an easy time rolling. They just look, the commodity of the Buckeyes team, it just looks like they all work together so well. Even when they were down, they didn't start. You never see nothing on the sideline like you see some teams, the players bickering. You never see really two concerned faces. Urban Meyer just always had a slim little grin across his face, and you just kind of have a feeling like, hey, it's all right, we're going to win this game, and the Buckeyes pull it off. Now, old Rocky Top. My daughter, she loves singing that Rocky Top song. Rocky Top. They got demolished by Bama, 49-10. Jalen Hurts, 16 for 26, 143 yards, but it's what he did on the ground. 3 TDs, 132 yards, and Bama rolled over Tennessee. Here's Tennessee again. Typical Tennessee, had all the hype. It's kind of looked decent, but then they have fell back-to-back losses now. And if you're Butch Jones, I think it's time for you to take up your stuff, get out of Tennessee at the end of the season, let somebody else come in here and try to get Tennessee back to being a top-tier program in the SEC. Because if you're going to sit there and tell me now that Tennessee, even though they were ranked number 9, is a top-tier program in the SEC, you're full of it. Tennessee has not done nothing in the last 5 years. Tennessee is not relevant as what they used to be in the SEC. And it just shows you when a team like Alabama rolls over them, the number 1 team, 49-10, Tennessee goes down. Let's go down. Sorry, this gets me fired up. I live in Tennessee now, and whatever. You like whatever college football team you like. The Buckeyes used to be bad back in the day, but Tennessee, everybody still loves Tennessee. They have so much passion. They do have a great group of fans. If you're a Tennessee fan, hey, you guys are awesome. You guys love this team, but they are not a relevant, big-time SEC team. But this is a time or two where a lot of other sports commentators are saying that the Big Ten has risen above the SEC, and that the SEC is no longer the top dog, that the Big Ten is the top dog. But we'll see. I ain't going to make a call on that because I'd be biased, and I would definitely say that the Big Ten would be ahead of the SEC. But that's for you to decide. If you guys want to tweet me, at SportsTalkCast1, tweet me. Which team is better, or which conference is better, which conference is better, Big Ten, SEC? Hit me up, let me know. Let's go down to Clemson, who won an OT to NC State. Clemson barely pulled it off. Deshaun Watson, 378 yards, 2 TDs, and he carried Clemson to that victory. I watched that game, very sloppy game. Clemson being the number 3 team, you're always going to have those sloppy games. So I think Clemson will be all right to bounce back. Don't be too concerned. I think Clemson will continue to roll on, and Clemson will be in the playoffs. Nebraska beat Indiana in the Big Ten action, 27-22. Nebraska quarterback Tommy Armstrong did not have the strongest start. He did throw for 200 yards, but only 1 TD. But Indiana, when they played Ohio State, I watched that game. Indiana, they play with a lot of heart. So if I'm a Nebraska fan, I wouldn't be too concerned. You're 6-0. I think that Nebraska might be a team to be worried about, and the Big Ten better watch out. Baylor beat Kansas, no big deal, 49-7. I ain't going to leave no time on that because, as we know, Kansas, they're good at basketball, but in football, they suck. Ole Miss, Arkansas. Arkansas is 5-2, but let me tell you, as bad as I hate to say it, Arkansas is a hell of a football team this year. Excuse me. Arkansas is a heck of a football team this year. Ole Miss went down. Chad Kelly was 18 for 39, 1 touchdown. Not enough. Arkansas, they're both losses that they had on the season were close losses. They're 1-2 in the SEC. But let's continue to watch Arkansas. They're ranked 22. Much as I hate to say anything, Brett Bielema, I don't like the man, but he got Arkansas playing. I think Arkansas, maybe next year, will be a team to watch. Even going to the end of this year, still might make some noise, get up there in a high bowl game at the end of the season. Houston, what is going on? Tom Herman. Houston fans, 38-31 against Tulsa. Come on, 38-31 and you're ranked number 13 and you were one in the playoff spot? No, Houston. I love Tom Herman. He was a coach, assistant coach for Ohio State. I got all the respect for that man. But his players, they just barely squeak by Tulsa. You cannot squeak by teams like Tulsa and expect the people who are voting to send teams to the playoffs and put you up in the rankings. Houston, you may still be 6-1, but you barely beat Tulsa. Come on, Houston, get with it. Greg Ward Jr., come on. You only had 142 yards when you on 25 carries. I'm sorry, this just came out totally wrong, but I meant to say Greg Ward Jr., good job for you because you had 142 yards on 25 carries. I still like Greg Ward Jr. to maybe be in the Heisman talk for Houston. That came out all wrong. I get excited here. Trying to keep my voice. Florida State knocked off Wake Forest 17-6. Dalvin Cook, he had 25 carries, 115 yards. Again, say Florida State, just ain't your year to be in the playoffs, but you still might end the season pretty strong. Boise State beat Colorado State 28-23. Boise, out of nowhere, they're 6-0 at 15. They're sneaking up there, but once again, when you only beat a team like Colorado State, what's going to happen when you play a big dog team like Alabama or Ohio State? They're going to squash you, Boise. You ain't ready to be up there with the big dogs. The U is starting to fall off. Miami Hurricanes, you guys are falling apart. You got beat by North Carolina, who North Carolina is no slouch. Because North Carolina is 5-2, and they're 3-1 in the ACC. So, Miami, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too rough on you. But I say Miami by the end of the year, Miami won't even be ranked. Vodtech, you lost to Syracuse. Vodtech, I'm still trying to figure out why you was even ranked. I'm not even going to talk about that. Virginia Tech, this gets the recognition because of the namesake that they have. Missouri, you got beat up by Florida. Florida beat you 40-14. Del Rio is back. Here's the thing. Not a big Gators fan. Not a big chomp guy. But if Del Rio would never got injured, Florida may well have been sitting there as a 6-0 team. And Florida still could have maybe kept playoff hopes. And Florida got hit hard when they took a loss, too, because they dropped all the way to 18th, which I think was rough for them. But Florida, keep rolling. You will see what happens. You get in that SEC title game, you win it, you might still find yourself in the playoffs. Oklahoma, finally, 38-17. They beat Kansas. Baker Mayfield, 25 for 31, 346 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's the Baker Mayfield that Oklahoma needed before they had 2 losses on the record. Baker Mayfield looked good. And like I said, Oklahoma rolled against Kansas State. West Virginia, this is a sleeper pick. Excuse me, I'm sorry. West Virginia is 5-0, and they rolled big, 48-17 against Texas Tech. Why is West Virginia only ranked 20th? Come on, tell me. Somebody, I don't understand. West Virginia is the most underrated college football team this year, I think. All they do, they just keep winning and winning and winning. They're 5-0. And they're in the Big 12. It's not like they're in some the American League or the MAC or something like that. They're in the Big 12, and they're 5-0. And you got a 2-loss Oklahoma team in front of a 0-loss West Virginia team. Come on, get it right. West Virginia should be up there. Oh, I just actually got popped up right here. The AP Top 10 poll is just out today, and I finally see it. Let's read it off real fast. Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Clemson 4, Washington 5, Texas A&M 6, Louisville 7, Nebraska 8, Baylor 9, and Wisconsin fell to 10. Okay, I'm perfectly... Actually, I'm not going to make no adjustments to that. I'm pretty fine with that, actually. Maybe Louisville above Texas A&M, but yeah, that's actually pretty good right there. That rankings. I believe that West Virginia should be in the top 10. I think West Virginia is one of the most underrated teams in college football. The Utes rolled over Oregon State on Saturday, 19-14, and Western Michigan, they are ranked 24th. They're 7-0. They're a MAC team, but they rolled 41-0 over Akron. If you want to gain attention, when you play the small dog teams like that, Akron, that's what you got. Or when you play small dog teams like Akron, that's what you got to do, Western Michigan. Roll them over, steamroll them, beat them up, and that's exactly what they did. Okay, one more thing I want to add here about NCAA football before we get off the subject. And I think the greatest game is... I'm not being biased, really. I think Ohio State-Wisconsin was a great game. But since I moved to Tennessee, as you guys all heard, I'm not a Vols fan. I don't like Tennessee. Hey, you guys got a crazy fan base. But I do pay a lot of attention because we're so close to Nashville to the Vanderbilt Commodores. Guess what? Vandy got that win. They beat Georgia over the weekend. It was great. It was good because I'm not a Georgia fan neither. And Vandy beat them. Good for Vandy. Good for Derek Mason. Derek Mason, I think... They'll probably give him one more year, but I like to see Vanderbilt. It's such a good school. Spend a lot of time at the hospital and the community around there. A lot of time. It's such a good area. I like to see Vanderbilt succeed in college football and one day be ranked and be an SEC division champion. All right, so let's get off of that real quick. Let's touch up with the NHL. Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs. This dude went off. He's a rookie. Went off and scored 4 goals in his debut. It was crazy. I think it was good. If you guys watch this kid, it's scary. I'm a Predators fan. I'm going to be scared to play this kid. This guy has such good skate skills. He's so fast. He has such good puck control. And if you guys go on YouTube Austin Matthews' NHL debut, and watch this guy, even if you're not a hockey fan, it's still just amazing watching how he made some of those shots. He was set up good a couple times, but some of the times the dude just had such good moves, and he would look pretty impressive. Watch out for Austin Matthews. I think that this kid is one of the best. Since I've paid attention to hockey and watched hockey, he's one of the best people that I've seen, and he's #1 draft pick. Right now, say another update on hockey. We'll just talk a little bit more hockey real fast. Crosby, he actually practiced today for the Penguins, and Patrick Kane has 3 cracked ribs, and he will be out for a couple of weeks. And I want to throw in there too that my Nashville Predators split the series with the Blackhawks. They won in Nashville, lost to Chicago, but PK Subban, that big trade. If you're a hockey fan, you knew about the trade. PK for Shea Weber. Well, PK, guess what? Bam! Slap shot on the power play. Got his first goal as a Nashville Predator and the first goal of Nashville's young season. So great to see PK do great things like that. Okay, and I want to go talk one more thing. Like I said, I'm going to start losing my voice, so I was trying to cut it short today. But very excited to say, UFC fans, it's very exciting to say Ronda Rousey will be back. And Ronda Rousey will indeed fight for the Bantamweight Championship. And I'm so excited that Rousey has finally came back. She'll fight Nunes. And I think that a lot of people, I've been on social media, everything, and all the people was talking about UFC 207, which takes place in December. A lot of Rousey hate. I remember when Rousey was fighting Holly Holm, that she still had uber's amounts of supporters. Everybody still liked Ronda. And now it seems like everybody hates Ronda. I don't understand why. People are jumping. Ronda Rousey is still Ronda Rousey. She lost, and she had to take some time off. She took it hard. She's not a loser. She don't ever lose. And that's the thing. Ronda Rousey was so skilled. She never lost. Even in her jiu-jitsu background, she was accustomed to winning. It was hard for a champion like her to take that loss. So I have nothing except respect for Ronda Rousey, and I can't wait for UFC 207. And hopefully Rousey goes in there and she beats Nunes. And I think it'll be great for Rousey and UFC if she has the belt around her waist again. And I do think she's very deserving of that title shot. If you don't think she's deserving, you're crazy. Ronda Rousey, whenever she came back to fight, she definitely deserves it. And they're talking MMA. Greg Hardy supposedly says that he wants to be an MMA career. UFC, if you was to sign Greg Hardy, or even Bellator, if you was to sign Greg Hardy, I'm not the type of guy to boycott anything, but I would not watch your product anymore. Greg Hardy is a piece of trash. He's an abuser. He's a woman beater. He's an assaulter. Greg Hardy never even should have got picked up by the Cowboys, but Jerry Jones thought he knew what he was doing and picked him up, and then he just kind of fell flat on his face, ain't with the Cowboys no more, and now currently he says he wants to be an MMA fighter. Hell no, Greg Hardy. Nobody signed this man. He don't believe it. And the other talk with the UFC is that the UFC said on White, we'll see how he looks, is what Dana White said. Dana White, do not sign this man. Do not get Greg Hardy involved in the UFC. It'll be worse, at least when you sign CM Punk. We all pretty much knew CM Punk was going to lose, but at least CM Punk is a good dude. All right, before we close it up, the NFL is going live right now. Like I said, it's a Sunday podcast. Sunday, and we've been watching some football. My Denver Broncos lost to San Diego on Thursday night, so I'm already over that. But I want to just talk about something real fast. I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans Cleveland Browns game. I don't know what Cleveland was thinking. If you guys watched it, Cleveland was about 3 minutes left in the game. Cleveland rolled down and scored. They were down 9, but instead of kicking the field goal to be down 8 and taking a chance to get the onside kick, they went for 2 right then and there, and they totally missed it. And so they were down still by 9. So then, fancy it, Cleveland actually kicked an onside kick and recovered. They went down and scored another touchdown, but guess what? Since you made that boneheaded mistake of going for 2, then you lost. It was 26-28, Titans still won. Somebody, I don't understand why the Browns would have went for 2 right then and there. Hugh Jackson, you got to be smarter than that. But a bright note on that for the Browns. Cody Kessler, a lot of people don't sleep on this kid. 26 of 41, 336 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I've seen him make some pretty good passes. It was kind of a sloppy game at times, but Kessler, he's still got a lot to learn. But the Browns stick with him. They might be all right. I think that Kessler, I would keep Kessler over RG3 for what I'm seeing in this game. Colin Kaepernick came back to start against the Bills. LaShawn McCoy, who ran his mouth to Cap. McCoy went off 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. But Cap, 187, a respectable 1 TD, 13 for 29, but the Bills still rolled 45-16 over the Niners. The Redskins beat the Eagles, Giants beat the Ravens, Saints beat the Panthers, Jags beat the Browns. Browns were terrible. I don't know who's the worst team in the NFL, Browns or Bears. I meant to say Bears got beat by the Jaguars. Browns or Bears? Hit me up. Browns or Bears? Who are the worst team in the NFL right now? Lions rolled over the Rams. Dolphins beat the Steelers. Patriots beat the Bengals. And Tom Brady's home return. Brady, 29-35, 376 yards and 3 TDs. Brady is back. And this man is scary, as old as what he is, and he's still balling like he is. Chiefs beat the Raiders. There's a tie in the AFC West now. Seahawks beat the Falcons, 26-24. Cowboys rolled against the Packers. And tonight, Tune in. The Colts and Texans face off on Sunday Night Football. And if the Texans was to lose this game, guess what, Tennessee fans? You're going to be in a tie for first place in the division for the first time since about 5 years ago. All right, guys. We're going to about ready to wrap this up right now. And just give me a second here. Okay, guys, I'm back. Thank you for that. I had to pause it there for a quick second because I thought I was about ready to sneeze. We made it through it. We're at 20 minutes. We talked a little NCAA. We talked a little MMA. We talked some NHL. I would like to thank you guys for listening. Next week, I'm planning on dropping a podcast. And finally, if everything goes right, next week we will be on iHeartRadio. I'm pretty pumped about that we will be on iHeartRadio. Look for that. We're going to try to do it Wednesday, put it out. Look for us on iHeartRadio. That's a big deal for us. We're also in the talk of having our first guest on here. We're also getting our own theme song music made for us. It's a good. It's just good to have all your guys' support. I want to say thank you. And that is all I have for you guys. Go watch some football tonight. Go have some fun. And then wake up, go to work tomorrow, just like me. All right, guys. Peace.
Most of the time I'm doing fine, I keep it to myself. Bottled up, I drink too much, half empties my new hell. I wanna start a fight, I wanna disappear. I'm tired of pretending that I belong here. Whiskey in me, since I can do anything I want to, and I ain't got nothing to lose. 100 proof, all lit up, baby, I'm on fire. Come alive in a smoky haze, light 'em up, Kentucky straight. It's a damn good night for a good time. Might just be the whiskey in